Hello, I'm Matt Bain, Director of Solutions Architecture at JB&A Distribution. Really happy that you're here to join us today. We're going to be speaking about the streamed easy bundles and how a house of worship can use them to better their reach. With the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really changed the landscape of how churches reach their parishioners. And it makes a move to online worship much more important. Many congregations moved to online services quite a still haven't made that move. Packing halls and sanctuaries just isn't going to be an option anymore. And if it is, it will definitely be at reduced numbers. So, how can a church make sure they are reaching their reaches your congregation, but it reaches them with content that's engaging to make sure that they stay involved in your message? Before we go much further, I think it would be great to get an actual church's perspective on what's going on right now. Let's take a listen to an interview that I did with Chris Brown from Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Naperville, Illinois. Chris, thank you so much for joining me.
You bet.
I would love it if you could tell everyone a little bit about your role at the church and the church in general.
Well, my role has really shifted since COVID. I'm a music and worship director and creative tech. So I've kind of got a lot of hats that I wear throughout church. I do a lot of different things. It's kind of whatever is needed. I kind of figure out what needs to be done. But I direct the high school choir, and which is more. I want to say that became a primary role this last year. And but my real primary role is leading worship for our contemporary worship band at our Celebration campus. We have two campuses, which are separated by about a block and a half. So that presents its own challenges in and of itself because with having two campuses that way. And I also lead our tech team. So normally I'm leading worship from the front of the stage, and I can't be in two places at once. So I have a team of people that I put together that is running tech for me from our booth. So on a typical Sunday, we've got, obviously a band which has multiple inputs and dealing with the sound that way. And we've got screens that we've got confidence monitors that we're using at one of our campuses, and that on our at our other campus, our Savior's campus, we've got pretty much a traditional sanctuary. Once again, I'm using the same soundboard that I am at both campuses, running ProPresenter, and we're really just showing the lyrics and stuff up on a front screen and doing kind of basic sound. So that's in some ways a much more simple application for what we're doing.
So I know you have two campuses, and one is more traditional, I would say,
Right.
and one is
Right.
more contemporary.
Right.
And I've seen this quite a bit in churches where the contemporary service normally has a bit more technology involved
Sure.
in that service. Is that kind of the same thing at Our Savior's?
Yeah, most definitely. Just the nature of what it is. Obviously, you have more people on stage, and we're dealing with. We're trying to get into the whole camera thing. We weren't doing anything as far as online services before this. Nothing at all. It's something that we had always talked about doing, trying to reach shut-ins. And then when COVID hit, it was like, boom, we have to do this now.
Yeah, I imagine that was a pretty fast transformation that you guys had to go through.
Yeah.
So now that you have, transitioned to doing some online services, are you seeing your congregation, view your content there? Has it been adopted, or, are you still having challenges with that?
No, we've definitely seen a lot of people still engaging, which has been my thought process behind everything that we're doing, is keeping the congregation engaged in whatever we're doing. And our congregation tends to run a little bit older. And I think a lot of them were pushing against some of the technology things that we're doing. And now they're definitely seeing the benefits of having this technology in place. So right now, what we've been doing is we've been pre-recording everything. And so we pre-record all our songs, all our messages, prayers, everything, and I've been editing and putting the whole thing together. I think the biggest challenge when we first started was, we couldn't get together to record. So I was sending out like a piano part and a vocal part, and I'd send that to my guitar player. Then he's sending something back to me, and then my bass player and drums and other singers. And I was compiling all the pieces that I had. And many of the things that people were sending me was just sent to me on their iPhones or whatever device they had. So that was killing me. That was taking up so much of my time, and trying to create something that sounded good, because initially when they wanted to go live, or not live, but wanted to go online, they wanted to just say, oh, let's just get something out there. It doesn't really matter what it is. And I said, there's no way that I can do that. It's like,
Right.
I did not want to put something out there that was just okay. I wanted to make sure that we were going to keep people engaged, and work with them that way, because if people don't stay engaged, they're going to turn off, find something else that they can go to, and potentially walk away from the church as well.
Right. So you've kind of gone through that emergency situation of just having to get online.
Right.
Now you've been online for, a few months. What does it look like going ahead for you? Are you readdressing kind of what you need to do online, or your online presence, or, what does that look like?
Yeah, most definitely. So we're still in the process of, we're going to continue to record everything and put things out. However, during this time, we're also looking at live streaming things. So we have now purchased 2 systems for each of our campuses, with 3 cameras at each location. And we're going to be trying to go live the best we can. Once again, we'll probably start off simply, and we'll probably just record using the equipment, so we get used to using the equipment first before we do anything. And then I will still have to put everything together for our online services right now, kind of the way we already are, but it's trying to find our volunteers that are going to be willing to step into this new realm that we're in, to learn all this stuff. Because I think ultimately we can keep it fairly simple if I need to, and just do basic shots and teach people to do that sort of thing.
You touched on an interesting subject, which is, a lot of times, obviously when you're working with any house of worship, one of the factors that always plays into it is cost, right? So
Right.
They can't be extremely expensive solutions. But I think the bigger thing is simplicity, because
Right.
normally you're dealing with volunteers.
Right.
So tell me about your volunteer staff. Is it all volunteers? Are you having to train people on a weekly basis? What does that actually look like in your church?
It is all volunteers, and primarily what we were doing before. Let's talk about just our Savior's Campus, which is a traditional service. So we've got a digital soundboard, and we are running ProPresenter, and so the ProPresenter is showing up on the screen. Pretty simple as far as it goes, almost like running a PowerPoint type presentation. And I had a lot of families that are involved, a lot of dad, daughters, mom, son combinations, whoever was willing to try running some of this stuff. And in that application, running sound was pretty simple, because basically you have a lector mic, and you've got like a couple pastor mics that you might be dealing with. There's not a lot of sound things. It's really turn up the sound, turn down the sound. You're not mixing anything as far as that goes. So that was pretty simple. And I've got a lot of families that are involved in that kind of stuff. And once again, it's an engagement piece. We do not have anybody that is paid for that. I usually can take about an hour and a half with somebody that's brand new and kind of run them through the whole system. I would have them, learn what our system is and what it does. And they'd probably watch somebody the first 1 or 2 times, and then sit down and start playing, and let them run through while they've got somebody behind them, kind of teaching them as they need to go.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Chris, I want to thank you for giving your perspective. I think it's really valuable for people to understand that, churches around the country and around the world are going through the same stuff.
Right.
So I'm gonna attempt to try and help people.
Good.
So thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it.
You better believe it.
As you just heard, there's a lot of challenges churches are facing all over the world. So let's take a look at how Streamed Easy can help. To create an enhanced house of worship production, we really need to start with good quality content, and that starts with cameras. Whether you're looking for an adjustable PTZ to give you the exact right shot, or you want a box camera for a fixed location, or you're looking for a broadcast camera, we have all of the options available for you. Our bundles also include several options for switching and processing. So no matter what sources you're trying to bring into your production, how many of them, or what features you would like to add, like green screen functionality or graphics, we can do that. Streamed Easy includes multi-stream technology, which means I can take my content to multiple streaming locations at the same time, so I can reach my audience where they are on the device that they choose. With included recording capabilities, I can use my content at a later date as a video on demand asset, or I can reutilize my content in post-production to make something completely new out of it. Finally, each of our bundles come with an included free hour of setup and training. This makes sure we get you up and running as quickly and easily as possible. There's also multiple additional training options available for you. Now I'd like to give you a quick demo of how easy it is to use a Streamed Easy bundle. Welcome to my home office. I'm going to show you how easy it is to run a church service utilizing the Streamed Easy bundles from JB&A. What you're looking at is one of the control systems we can utilize with the Streamed Easy bundles. This one is the LC200. In it, I have the ability to bring in 4 sources of content. Now that can be video like what you're seeing here on my camera. I also am bringing in a couple other cameras. I have one at a stage that you'll see. I also have a computer source coming in, which is the Pro Presenter. And then I also have another camera that is sitting back here on my desk, just to show you a 4th source. So again, you can utilize whatever 4 sources you would like to, and they are available to you at the touch of a button. If I push the button, you can see that I've gone to a full screen of me. I can push the button again and go to another source. Now I'm at another source, which happens to be my Pro Presenter. Now, this might look complex, but it's extremely easy to use. All I need to do is press a couple buttons, and that can completely do my entire service. If I want to do side-by-sides, it's extremely easy. I can also do picture-in-picture. I can change what that picture-in-picture looks like, and it's very easy. Now I'm going to go back to my full screen image of myself, and I'll take you through the interface. All right, let me actually take you through the interface. On the left-hand side, what you see is my multi-viewer. This is where all my sources come in, and I can easily see them. I can change what that source is by hitting the drop-down box, and that can change which source I'm bringing into that channel. The first option that I have access to is the recording settings. I have the ability to record multiple channels. This gives me a ton of flexibility when it comes to post-production or in reutilizing my content. My next menu option is audio. Again, there's several different ways that we can bring in audio to your channels. This gives you a lot of flexibility on which sources are bringing in audio and which ones aren't. The next option is scenes. Scenes is where I can choose what this actually looks like. I can set up my own scenes, create custom ones, but it's very easy to do. If I'd like to go back to a side-by-side with the background, all I have to do is double click on it. My next option is layout. I can easily and quickly change between full screen options of my different sources, or I can do multi-box effects like this. Next, I have overlays. This is where I can add graphics. Now, we don't have to just use the ones that come stock in the box that you see here. We can also add our own. So if there's any custom messaging that you would like to add, very easy to do. All I have to do is load them in, and they're easy to grab at my fingertips. If I'd like to change it to my blue text, easy enough to do. The last option in the scene section is actually backgrounds. It's very easy to add my own backgrounds. Again, just like the overlays, if I want to add my own, all I have to do is load it onto a USB drive and I can import them directly. Or I can just double click on the ones that I'm presented with here. So if I'd like to change my background color, I can double click on the yellow and it quickly changes. If I want to go to the blue, again, super easy. The last option is PTZ control, and I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite features. If you utilize PTZ cameras, which you would be if you use the Streamed Easy bundle, it allows you to use your pan, tilt, and zoom controls directly from this interface. I can even set up presets. So if I want my camera to jump around to either a wide shot or a close-in shot, I can set that up ahead of time and just have easy preset buttons to make that jump. That's as easy as it is to utilize the Streamed Easy control system. I've given you an overview today of the Streamed Easy bundle. If you need more functionality, it definitely comes with a lot more that I couldn't show you today. We also have plenty of upgrade options. So if you need more from your system, like green screens or virtual sets, we can do that as well. Really, whatever you need to do with your content, JB&A can help you. That brings us to the end of today's presentation. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to discuss your particular needs or have any further questions, feel free to reach out to the sales team at sales@jbna.com. You can also check out the streamedeasy.com website for all of the bundle packages and more information. Now let's move into the Q&A. All right, so if there's any questions that anybody has about the presentation, feel free to put them into the Q&A section. Laura also uploaded some PDFs for you. They are in the handout section, so make sure you grab them while you're here. They're also going to be posted on the streamedeasy.com website, so you can grab them at any time if you can't get to them today. But if you have questions, feel free to submit them into the chat, and while we have a few minutes, I will go ahead and answer them. One of them is, can you link in Facebook Live or YouTube Live? So yes, we can definitely kind of push content out or bring content in. There's several ways to do that, but streaming directly from any of the Streamed Easy bundles is easy to do. That's why we set them up. So yeah, we can kind of get it to any destination that you need to. I'll wait just to see if there's any other follow-up questions. All right, one of them is, can you talk about the camera connections utilized in the bundle? So yeah, that's a really good question. You know, infrastructure is something that we have a lot of options with StreamDeasy. We can either do everything over IP, we can utilize NDI, or we can utilize kind of baseband video or HDMI cables or even SDI. So whatever your preferred infrastructure is, we can utilize one of the StreamDeasy bundles for. We can kind of help discuss what that best option is for you. So if you have existing infrastructure, we can kind of slide right into that. Or if you're looking to build an infrastructure, we can help advise you on what's the best route to go based on what you're trying to do. Next question is, can you stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time? Yes, so all of our bundles include multi-stream capability. So we have the ability to send streams to different locations at the same time. The most minimum Streamed Easy bundle allows you to send it to 2 locations. So, and it just grows from there. So yes, we can go to YouTube and any other destination that you would like at the same time. I'll also say that we're also recording at the same time as well. We support multi-channels of record, so you might want to take a singular camera and use that for something else. The nice thing is we're recording multiple channels, so you can reutilize your content or throw it into an NLE for further editing for another project really easily. All right, another question is, along with the camera bundle question, can you use an iPhone as a camera source? Yes, you can. And there's, again, a few different ways you can do that. One of the great things is if you utilize NDI technology, we have ways to do NDI over the network. So you can bring in an iPhone via NDI. We can also do conversions of many types. There's a lot of ways we can bring in an iPhone for you. So basically what we would do is kind of explore everything that you're trying to do, what all your sources are, and then we can make a recommendation of which bundle is right for you. iPad, same thing. Yeah, Brian also commented that in churches that's the biggest concern for them. Yeah, you know, infrastructure is a concern, and reutilizing equipment that a church already has. It's all about making sure that we can fit in a budget and that a church can do what they need to do and, be able to afford it. So that's really why we've put these bundles together, to make sure that we're giving them all of the technology that they need and all of the features that they need to actually make engaging content, but do it at a price point that's reasonable. Because there's a lot of products out there, and there's a lot of choice in the market right now, but you either get things that are too complex and confusing for a volunteer to use, or it's too expensive for a church to be able to afford. So that's really the sweet spot that the Streamed Easy bundles were put together for. All right. Is an NDI bundle generally more flexible than IP? That's one of the questions that was asked. Uh, it can be, for sure. And that's really, it just is going to depend on everything that you're trying to bring into your production. Right now, there are a lot of products that NDI works with. We actually have a webinar coming up next week about all of the kind of NDI products that are out there on the market. What that means is that, for some inexpensive gear, you can bring stuff over the network very easily, and it also is extremely easy to bring into your sources, and extremely easy to actually kind of diagnose any troubleshooting problems that you might have. It's just a very user-friendly technology to use on a network. If you're already using IP sources, we can definitely utilize those as well. But what we found is that the barrier for entry on NDI is a lot lower than what we see with a traditional IP solution. So that's why NDI is really experiencing quite a great time right now, because it's just easy for people to use. And next, a follow-up question to that is, NDI generally more expensive? That really depends. I would say that there's plenty of range in NDI products. Normally, what I would say is, yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. And I'll give you a quick example of that. Normally, if you have a camera that's offered in an NDI version and a non-NDI version, the NDI version is normally a few $100s more expensive than a non-NDI version. You normally are going to kind of realize a cost benefit, though, because it's a lot easier to bring it in and the infrastructure ends up being a little less expensive. So because NDI really only needs a 1 gigabyte network, we don't have to do anything crazy on the networking side. And it's normally plug and play. For instance, in what you're looking at right now is my home office, and I just put in a network switch that was a consumer off the shelf switch, plugged everything in, and it all works together seamlessly. I didn't have to do any configuration. So your time savings normally makes up quite a bit more than what you've spent a little extra on the gear itself. But again, it's really going to depend on exactly what type of gear you're using. And like I said, there's ranges of NDI gear. There's the high end and the lower end. So the good thing is, with NDI, you have choice. One of the next questions is, do any of the packages include Genlock capability? Yes, we have some of our larger packages of Streamed Easy. They do include Genlock and a whole bunch of other features that I haven't touched on today. So if you need more professional broadcast features like Genlock, we can definitely do that. It really comes down to which control system we're going to be using. But yes, we can provide Genlock for you. All right, I think I have come to the end of the questions. Thank you all for submitting your questions. If I didn't have time to get to them, I think I got to everyone. But if you didn't see an answer, please shoot it to me, shoot it to the sales team at JB&A. We'd be happy to help. Check out the streamedeasy.com website. There's a whole bunch of content there, including other webinars for other markets that we've done. There's handouts, there's flyers, just some great information. Once this is done processing, this webinar will be posted up there as well. So thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something about the streamedeasy.com website and all of the bundles that we've put together at JB&A. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.